Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Mic check, 1, 2, 1, 2. Salut à tous, bienvenue dans ma chaîne YouTube. Je m'appelle Amina. Aujourd'hui, je vais parler de l'art de la disparition, ou plutôt l'art d'être ghosté. C'est vraiment une chose qui est vécue parmi nos amis, les single ladies. Alors aujourd'hui, on va parler de l'émotion, on va parler de la psychologie, de la culture et plus précisément, on va parler de valeur de soi. Alors, activez vos sous-titres parce que comme d'habitude, je vais m'adresser en anglais. So, ladies, let's start by defining what ghosting really is. Basically, ghosting is when someone just decides to cut off all communication without explanation, without closure, just total silence and absence, right? And the best way to understand ghosting is understanding how it works in the brain. And you're going to understand that ghosting is not really that deep, it just filters out men. So basically, what happens when someone ghosts you, according to Helen Fisher, but by the way, you guys should really read her books because she explains everything about love, how to understand love uh, scientifically, psychologically. And yeah, she's very curious on what happens to us when we fall in love, when we get a heartbreak. It's when reading her books, you sort of go easy on yourself and understand that, okay, everything is just biology and and chemistry and psychology, basically. But she explains and says, for example, you're talking to a man and you're just pouring and pouring so much emotionally, and the man is just taking it all in without having time to assess it. And so what happens is your amygdala, which is our, let's just say, fire alarm of the brain, signals to the frontal cortex, our logical, decision making area, that there's a danger. So the frontal cortex analyzes it. And if it does say, okay, there's a danger, the person retreats, literally gives up. That just means that that particular person, frontal cortex, is immature. Because when you're dealing with a man who has a mature frontal cortex, he can articulate his feelings. His decisions are sharp. He takes his time. Basically, a gentleman has a mature frontal, especially the left side, because the left side is all about communicating and knowing how to express how you're feeling, to express your words. This is why it's very important when raising boys. You have to teach them how not only to control their emotions, but to articulate. Very important. We are living in the world of swipes and soft blocks, and so you are liking somebody Monday, Friday, you are dropping them, especially on the men's side of things. And that's not because your heart is cold. It's not cold. It's just that now women and men are being taught speed over depth. There is no depth in anything. Everything is drive through. I feel like you are driving through. Hey, how are you? Ha 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 ha. Okay, fine, let's go out. Okay. There's no backbone. There's no structure. There is no there's no depth, there's no, I'm looking for a word here and I cannot find it. There is no substance, basically. Now let's talk about what happens when you are talking to someone. We also have to understand that phase because women tend to confuse feelings because we are very emotional beings. When you are talking to someone, everything is very nice, it's going well. Your dopamine, your feel good chemical, is extremely high. It's just shooting up. So you are on the cloud nine. And same with the other person. And then all of a sudden you get ghosted. You're not understanding what really went on. So what happens is that your cortisol went up, which is a pain chemical in our brain. Your dopamine is down, and now you're in shock. You're panicking. You're double checking the text message. You're wondering where you went wrong. You're depressed because you kind of sort of felt like you were falling for him. No, you were not falling for him. The dopamine effect is the same effect as drug abuser. Okay, it's the same feeling when you're missing him and you're wanting that connection back. You're not missing the person. You're missing the rhythm you had. You're missing the high you were on high, basically before it dropped and your cortisol shoot up. It's the same way the heartbreak is felt. So same signals of the brain. So that's why it's so hard to process it. And you want to know how long it takes for you to get out of that bubble, 3 to 6 months. Ladies, that's 3 to 6 months of your life, your time. Okay. This is why it's very important before even proceeding to, I don't know, the first date, you have to make sure you are talking to someone who is emotionally mature. And I'm guessing you are too. Because if you are not, then I would advise you to put everybody on hold and focus on yourself. Because when you have daddy issues or childhood trauma, it can be sensed, especially if you are talking to a emotionally mature man. They sense those things through the talk. They sense how you're overly available, how you're saying yes, yes, yes. Men sense all of that. So when you are wanting an emotionally mature man, please come ready, because then you get ghosted again. So work on yourself. Take your time. This is about you. The new year is coming. It's all about you being the best version of yourself. High value, very poised, controlled, and together. Okay? Do it for you. Now let's touch on Black women dating. So the way we were raised, especially here in America, the Black woman gives. You know, she's a hardworking woman. She's strong, and when she's in love and when she cares, she gives. You know, and when that trust is broken, she will find it hard to go back again to, you know, to go back to the dating mode, right? Because I understand that. I've been I've wasted some years. I cannot even talk about it because some people are not worth mentioning in life at all ever. But I did not give up on love. Never give up on love, right? And so I know myself. I cannot let a relationship, you know, a person who was immature affect my decision in life, because I know who I am. I know what I bring to the table. I know how valuable I am. So if a relationship does not work, it's okay. I am quick to understand. Of course, you go through a phase, but I always have that confidence in me that, okay, my mom raised us right. My mom reassured us and made sure we had everything that a woman can have. Unfortunately, some men are too blind to understand what's in front of them. And if you are in your late 20s and early 30s or late 30s or 40, you should be old enough to do research, to target the good man. And if you always find yourself attracting the bad man who behave sort of the same, it has a lot to do with psychology. For example, if you are attracting someone who drinks a lot, most likely you, when you were young, people around you were drinking, or you were, you know, surrounding yourself with friends who were drinking. When you see someone who's drinking, it sort of not just reminds you of the people, but it just, in your brain, it looks familiar. So you are, you know, naturally attracted to that person or that situation. You know, so it's very important to know what you need in a man and to know how to detect those qualities in the man. Very, very important. Black women, we are, of course, you know, we are strong on the outside, but we also have to know that we are very delicate on the inside. And when we decide to tap into it and to lay it all for someone who does not deserve it, it slices through, and we, you know, it's trauma. Okay. And I want you to flip that. I want you to think, if it doesn't work, it does not have to change my life. Never ever one time let a relationship that did not work affect how you trust men. This is what's happening right now with women, and it's not a healthy way to go. Okay. Because then what? Then you're slowing down your life. You're building up a wall and never letting somebody in just because one person who was not mature enough to handle you dropped the ball, you know? So I always say to myself, when right now I'm married, I've been married for almost 10 years, 9 years now, but my game is a bit old. But just take this as a rusty book given to you. Okay, just you're gonna need to, dust it a little bit, but this is the formula. I want to get into why it's very, very important for a woman to know herself and to stay in control. This is why I am doing this elegance series, because I promise you, once you know what you want, you will cut the chase of dating in half, even more. Okay? You will attract exactly the type of man that you need to attract without being desperate, without, over giving, without giving too much too soon. We don't want all of those qualities that you probably might be having right now. We're going to work on all of that. I need you to, go back, take some steps back, lock yourself in the room, start journaling. Journal about your dating experience. Be honest with yourself. Don't let feminism blind you. Be honest with yourself. Do I want to get married one day? Do I want to have children? What kind of man do I need? Am I being influenced by social media? Be honest with yourself, because you are wasting time. There is, celebrities having kids at 50 and you think, oh yeah, I can wait. No, I had my fourth baby at 35, and I told my husband, how do people do it? Because comparing to 19 when I had my first baby to 35, total opposite. Total opposite. My back, my energy, my patience, everything is being tested. I clap for the women who have had babies at older than 35. And for me, I feel like ghosting is not even, a modern way of dating. Ghosting is now affecting the data, you know, Black families, the statistics. It's sad to see. It's very sad to look at. It keeps dropping compared to the white household. I don't know if I can explain this right, but I have hung out with people who are just busy. They don't know when the night ends. They don't know when to stop. They don't know when to sit down and take a drink. They are just crazy hype, right? And they do it all night. They can go on and on and on, right? So that's how I see feminism. It's just that movement where everybody's going crazy. Know when to go home. Always know when to go home. Always know, oh, it's time for me to go. I was watching Eddie Murphy, and I admire his discipline. If you guys have not yet watched it, I really, really encourage that you watch Being Eddie on Netflix. I admired his discipline, and he knew when to stop. You gotta know when to stop. He might come back, as he says, but you can feel his peace. You can feel that he is good. So be honest with yourself. Don't just follow the hype. Look at your age, look at what you want, look at the type, think of the type of person you need. It is time to slow down and think about all of that. And ladies, it's never too late. Don't you dare think that because you have a child, that because you are 40 something or 50 something, it's never too late. A woman is a woman, especially a woman who has value, who knows herself, who knows how to take care of herself, who knows how what she brings to the table, knowing there are some places in our lives where we have to slow down, to respect, to slow down, to consider. That's something that feminism is not teaching the women, and now we can date because men need you to slow down. Tell me a real man who will let a woman treat him as he should be treating her. It doesn't make sense, right? So the world is confusing women a lot. Women are thinking that now that we are equal, we can now act like men. That's what's messing the whole situation up. Most women are acting the same way, and it's not leading anywhere. It's just a cycle. You get ghosted, you come back again, you date the same guy, you get ghosted, you come back again. You are emotionally exhausted. So we don't want that. Now it's time to talk about culture. And after we talk about culture, we will merge the modern way and the cultural way of dating, trying to, speed up the tradition to our modern days so that we can still have our identity and still have our backbone, because that's very important. Dating has lost its structure. We can agree that dating has lost its structure, especially in the Black family, in the Black community. The decrease of marriages is insane. And we, remember, we are the minority. So the 31%, and then, in few years it's dropping again. It's sad. What is happening to us? And for me, I would speak for the women, I would say it's lack of identity. It's lack of tradition. We are mimicking too much. It is time to come home and understand how are we supposed to date and act as African rooted women. Whether you like it or not, the root of you is Africa. So let's bring it back home and talk about how it's actually done in Africa. So basically, courting in Africa starts when the woman finishes, I would say, high school. So when the woman turns 18, then she's able to start, seeing men. She's able to allow men to come see her. And usually we don't date a lot because it's time to think about getting married, and you might have a boy that you've sort of been talking from school and things like that, but nothing serious, because you're not at the age yet. The reason why it's like that is because everybody's involved. When you are liking a boy, the whole family is involved, the whole community is involved. So when you're walking together in the streets, everybody knows already it's the two of you guys. So it's very hard for a man to even ghost you or disappoint you, because he's not only going to disappoint you, he is going to disappoint your family. He is going to misrepresent his family. And, so basically, when a man is talking to a woman, it's marriage. You gotta think marriage, but there is also a space of talking, to just to talk, to get to know each other, and the families are involved. The families are sort of checking in. You can go out on a date. Most of the time when the woman is still a little young, you come to the woman's house, you guys are hanging, she serves you, you're talking, but families can pass, get in and get out. And but here it's more of like, the boyfriend and girlfriend, and the girl can move on to the next after the breakup, and the next and the next and the next. We don't have that in Africa. Even in the villages or wherever it is, getting married is the ultimate goal. Okay, the woman comes, she's educated enough, she can go to college if she wants to after getting married. The way we were raised, like I said, my mom taught us how to cook, how to host, how to take care of the home. She was an amazing mother. She knew how to balance everything, and I admired that. I admired my aunts. That's the African culture, right? You are surrounded by aunts and mothers and godmothers and the neighbors. Everybody, just, you are so surrounded with love when you're 18 and you're becoming a woman, that you are just excited to be a woman, to be part of them, and to be celebrated, So marriage is, and relationships and falling in love, it's something that everybody witnesses. And as soon as, let's say, if you had your boyfriend come and then he leaves, everybody will come and surround you. So what did he say? Even before he comes, they'll make sure they put makeup on you. They'll make sure they dress you. They'll make sure your mom will be looking. She's very proud. And it's a proud moment. So ghosting is not a thing. It's maybe now, because feminism is finding its way and women are a little bit uncontrollable. So after you talk to the man, and you both decide, okay, we can do this. Let's get married. Let's go find the home, and then you can talk to my parents. So the guy has to present himself to the father or the mother or the male figure. Usually, usually the uncle, and talk about marriage. And that's something that the family has been waiting for since you started talking. And so it becomes a celebration, not just between family, but a whole town. Because people heard, people know, people saw it was the two of you, and it's been a little while, and they hear the good news. Everybody's gathering. It's a beautiful moment, and you become a wife. And that's the ultimate goal. After you get married, you can go back to college, you can finish your school while you're having kids, because again, back in Africa, we have maids. So life is not as hectic as here. So you have the freedom. You have the cars, you have the home, you have the maids. So you can have as many kids as you want while following your dreams, doing business or traveling. So there is no such thing as, being at home, being submissive. Of course, you have to respect your husband. You have to know how to greet him, how to host, how to serve him. And I know a lot of African American have a hard time with that. I try to understand why. There is no such thing as and in Africa we don't, it's not submission in Africa. It's just what it is. So I'm not thinking I'm submitting. I'm gonna fluff this pillow. I'm acting like a housewife. It's unacceptable. We don't think like that at all. It's just the way it should be. Just like the man has to go and hunt, not hunt. Don't think literally. We don't hunt in Africa. There is hunters, of course, I think, but it's not what you see on TV. 100% not. And I'm sure with the rise of the internet, we know that it's not. The man goes to work. He's coming home. He's tired. He's hungry. This is when the woman, who is well trained, okay, because you gotta come to marriage prepared. You know how to host your husband. You know how to take care of him. How to make him feel good. Remove his shoes. Take his work bag. All of that. All of that. And no, it it does not make you submissive yet. No, it's fun. You're laughing together, but everybody's doing their thing. And when you're sitting down and you're talking, he's thanking you for the amazing wife that you are. He's looking at the kids. You guys are talking about life. And if you have to travel the next day, go travel. Go do your business. Go to school. Do your thing. It's just things that has to be done, and everybody is in their lane. There's no strings attached. There's no labeling. Oh, of course, there are a few people who just take advantage of the hierarchy, and they don't know, they weren't raised well. They don't know how to take care of a woman. Few people, but most African, they adore their wives. Okay, their wives are adored. You should listen to African music. You would see, from the way they smile, from the way they walk, from the way they look over their shoulders, they are just worshipped. And that makes us even more wanting to pour more. Okay, it goes both ways. And if you have a good harmony, you're gonna have such a happy family, and such a successful family, and both of you will be successful, because there's that love, that understanding, just a good flow. Now, today, in the modern days, and in America, we still have dowries as African, but we don't have the discipline to hold marriage together. We do the dowries, they give the money, they give the cows, they take the wife. And in marriage, no backbone. There is nothing. There is no discipline to keep a marriage together. We also have connection with people, but there is no backbone. There is no tradition, no culture to guide you, especially in the talking stage. You don't know, am I representing my family by acting like this, by dressing like this, by meeting him like this, by talking like this? Am I representing my mother, my lineage, the queens before me, by acting like this? Okay, because you are part of the most strong community based people, the Africans. I think that for the African culture and tradition to be modernized, we just have to keep the essence, right? We don't worry about the format. The format is not going to work in today's world, but we can have the commitment without possession, without worrying. Are we going to Monaco? Does he have a Bugatti? Am I going to take a selfie and show it? No, go deeper, have depth, have a commitment. You are committing to someone. I wouldn't say regardless of what he has, because I want you all to understand how to attract valuable men, and not just valuable men based on their finance, but their ethics, their the way they take care of you, the way they understand you, the way they communicate. You got to look at all of that, not just the material things, not just the finance, though it's very, very important. I would not want any of you ladies to date someone who is not ready to date you. You got to also keep that in mind, okay? Don't date a boy. Have your self-worth up, but do not erase yourself. Know who you are. Your identity should be your backbone. Always, always, okay? So now, my favorite part is, how does an elegant woman date? First thing first, ladies, stay mysterious, okay? You don't have to read a whole book to him, okay? If he's asking, where did you go? What did you do today? Oh, I was a bit busy. I went south, then west. That's it. Please understand this. You need to stay mysterious. As much as we want to pour, don't do it. Okay? There is levels to that, but the talking stage, you don't want to do that. Au contraire, what you want to do is let him talk about himself, ask him questions, because women, we forget something. This happens to a lot of African women. We forget that we also need to interview these men. You got to know who you're dealing with. Ask them what they do when they get mad. Ask them how was their last relationship. Ask them things like that. Look for red flags. Listen to how they are articulating their words, because we don't do that. We just want to impress. We just want to be chosen. And then we end up dealing with a narcissist because we did not interview them. Not in a harsh way, in a soft way. Be soft. If he's investing a 3, please don't give him a 10. If he's investing a 3, you give him a 1. That's how low you stay. Control the tempo always. The ball is in your court. Don't overpour emotions. Yeah, but I missed you, and then I thought about you, and then you didn't call me, and then you we're not doing that. The goal here is to be easy to talk to, but very hard to reach, because the goal is to make a man chase. Give him the space to chase, to wander, to be jealous, to be mad. Why you didn't call me? This is how it's gonna be. That's beautiful. Okay, that's what we want. So give him. Stay on the surface. We're not getting anywhere deep until a man tells you his intentions. If 2 months later he say, "Wow, I would really like to know you more," then maybe we're gonna bump it up to a 2. Also remember, men tend to ghost just to test you. Okay? They want to see if you're gonna come back to them. They're gonna see if you're gonna text them again and wonder. They're gonna see if you're gonna panic. Do not panic. You stay control and you deal with it. Even though you were emotionally invested, it's okay. We move. Okay? At the end of the day, you know who you are, you know how you have invested in yourself, and it's his loss. Always remember. And if you are not there yet, where you are depending on someone to make you feel beautiful, to make you feel worthy, to heal all your childhood trauma, then stop dating. Stop dating and start loving on yourself and figuring out all of that. It only takes a pen and a journal. And if you get somebody interested, tell them it's okay. I'm actually busy right now in life, but I'll remember you. Put them to the side. Continue to focus on yourself. There's a lot of men, trust me, there's a lot of good men who are wanting great women. So you taking time to work on yourself, you're not missing out. Social media. Stay mysterious. Don't let anyone read you. When you're mad, when you're upset, when you're enraged, things that you like, the quotes, no, definitely not elegant at all. That because men tend to read that and they figure you out right away. They can see your desperation. You are letting it all out online. Anything that is overly sexualized, the type of flirt that is just too not appropriate, that's a disrespect in a way, right? Talk things out without having to lash out, without having to be upset, control the tempo. Always protect your emotions, always protect your softness. So, no need to be rude, no need to be offensive. You don't need all of that, okay? That's a sign that you need to work on yourself. Every time you derail, come back to yourself. Don't blame it on anyone else. And let's say you go on a date now, always watch how he's taking care of everybody around him, how he's opening the door for you, how he's holding your hand, how he's treating the waiters, how he's treating his mother, his sister. Always. Those things don't lie. When you raise a gentleman, he's forever a gentleman. Don't overlook anything because he's tall, dark, and handsome. That will fade. It fades quick, trust me. It fades quick. Look for depth. You know who you are, you know your value. You're not rushing to anything. I was watching Love is Blind and they have 2 weeks to fall in love. Who that's impossible. And that's why the culture is really messy because they are teaching you how to fall in love in 2 weeks. That's not how it works. And here is what you have to not do. We're not doing this, okay? First and foremost, remember, there's no audition here. You're not auditioning to be the girlfriend, okay? If anything, he's actually auditioning to have a high value woman. We are not over texting, over explaining anything unless there's really something to explain, which there shouldn't be, okay? Because you're mysterious, more listening, less talking. Understand the red flags because you don't have time to waste. So if he's not consistent and he starts to say things, he promised one thing, he didn't do it, those are your cues to exit. When it comes to intimacy, don't rush it. Don't rush it. You're looking for that man who is patient. That's the highest test you can give them, to wait. I'm not saying, you're celibate now, you're not, right? But don't rush it. That's how you test a man's patience. If he really, really wants you, he's going to wait. Do not prioritize a man who has not told you his intentions. So every time you are at work, at school, you're watching TV, you're spending time with your parents, stay focused. If you're thinking about them, then you give too much. Never prioritize a man until you have peeled the first layer and he has told you, okay, these are my intentions with us. Just don't do it. Stay controlled and composed. You are valuable and he is trying to break in. Make him work for it. And ladies, this is a formula that works. This is psychology and this is biology. Okay? One thing about elegant women, you know your values from A to Z. Okay? You are not going to waste time. You're not. If they're not seeing you for who you are and not respecting you, it's time to let go. No yelling, no lashing out, none of that. You know when to let go. You can say a little line to say goodbye, but this is why it's important not to overshare because you didn't give much anyways. So it's easy to pull back. Ladies, remember, an elegant woman is structured. She's very disciplined. She moves elegantly. She moves with precision. She can detect little lies, little red flags. Okay. And she's soft. She's very easy to talk to. But she has a character, a backbone, a culture that sustains her wherever she goes, whoever she talks to. That's why she cannot get ghosted. Before he even thinks of ghosting her, she already figured it out a long time ago. happy dating, stay elegant, but always stay rooted. Bye, guys.